You know what makes me happy? You know
What?
what makes me happy? I've always been like a guest on like the StreamYard platform, but now I
Yes.
am also a host. And so now I know that while that intro is playing, you are also dancing.
You've never seen that before?
No, it doesn't show on the guest end. I've always signed in as a guest.
I did
So
not know that.
yeah, no, so I was just like sitting there like jamming out and I looked down and you're playing your guitar and I was like, "Oh, happy Friday."
Dude, I had no idea because on my end I can see you, but I did not know that you could not see me.
No, I can see you now.
Well, how do I look? How do I look today, darling?
Fabulous, darling. Fabulous.
Good, wonderful, wonderful. Well, look at all these beautiful people in here today. As you guys can see, we're having a lovely, lovely day today. It's Friday. Welcome, everybody. Thank you all for being here. We've got Mr. Brandon Vesper. Woohoo! Let's go, little Brandon. Such a darling. We've got Sean Clark. Sean Clark. Sean
Sean
Clark is in the
Clark.
house today. Sean Clark, thank you so much for being here, Sean Clark. You're so lovely. Alan, thank you, Alan. Freddie Rivas, Terry. Oh my goodness, we've got the lot. Guys, thank you all for being here. Welcome. I don't know what it is today, but wow. I don't know. Sometimes Friday just does that to me. It's my second favorite F word. And you know, Carlin, I think I've shared this with you before. Back in the day when I was in the military, we used to have this thing called Fred Durst Fridays. If you guys don't know who Fred Durst is, you guys go look him up. He's tongue in cheek. He's the greatest frontman of all time. And he talks like this. Yeah. And so we had this thing where every Friday we would come in and that's how we would talk for the entire day. And that was how we paid tribute to the greatest frontman ever. Again, that's a very tongue-in-cheek statement. But we'd come into work and be like, yo, I need a freaking wrench today, son. So that's how Fred Durst talks. If you guys have ever listened to Limp Bizkit, it is Fred Durst Friday. So anyway, I don't know. Sometimes I just get in this mood where I've just got these really weird accents, and I don't even know where they're from or where they come from. Their place of origin, I don't know, darling. So if that happens today, like just know that, well, you know, it's just like one of those quirks that Jesse has. Like it just comes and goes. So anyway, I'm having a fantastic Friday. Thank you guys for being here. Welcome to Thane Growth It's Friday, TGIF, your place to come for personal development and business growth. As you guys can see, I've got my lovely co-host here today, Colin Hostert the second. That's what it looks like on your screen. It looks like it has Carlin Hostert number 2. Colin Hostert Jr., dear.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's exactly what it is.
That's exactly what it is. How are you today? You look great. You look fantastic. You're radiating.
Thanks. I spent like 10 minutes playing with the lighting and I also did my eyebrows today.
Nice. Your eyebrows, you say?
We got visible
There it
brows.
is, ladies and gentlemen. There's the secret. You wake up and on Fridays you do your eyebrows.
That's the trick.
Oh my
Everyone knew
gosh.
it except for me until now.
You know, I've always wanted to start a podcast that just like does comedy stuff. Like I have so many ideas for like skits and things like that. Some of it, maybe it's just the military in me. Like there's a completely different side of Jesse that's like closer to, you ever seen Eddie Murphy Raw?
Oh. Yeah.
Just like extremely vulgar.
It
But
shocks
it's like
you.
top-notch comedy type stuff. You know what I mean? Like there's that other side of Jesse that nobody in here has ever seen before. Brandon has, because him and I used to work together in the military. But I'm just huge into comedy as well. That's one of my things. On like my I'll say 5 to 10 year goals is I'd love to start doing like stand-up comedy and stuff. So you guys will be able to be like, hey, you know what? I remember him talking about that on that podcast one day. This actually makes a lot of sense now that I think about it.
Oh, interesting.
I'm really
Jesse.
excited. Yeah.
That's actually so okay. So one of your big goals is to do a stand-up comedy.
Yes.
Oh.
Yes.
Whew. Well, grab a pen and paper, ladies and gents.
Guys, we've got a really great show here for you guys today. Coincidentally enough, we're speaking about goals. Chasing big goals, crushing big goals, doing all the things. We actually just started this week in our mentorship, the Growth Co. This week, we spent all of this week talking about goal setting, talking about setting big goals. I think that's the big thing, Carlin. I think a lot of people are afraid to dream. I think a lot of people are afraid to shoot big. I think a lot of people are afraid to express that they want to do big things. You know, I shared this with you guys before, but it's so worth sharing again. Growing up, when I was little, growing up in my mom's and dad's house, I don't know where that accent came from. Don't even know what it, anyway. Money was kind of like a 4-letter word. And for those of you guys that don't know, 4-letter word is a cuss word. Most 4-letter words are, most cuss words are 4-letter words. So saying the word money or talking about money in any way, shape, or form was quite literally like throwing an F-bomb at the dinner table. It's like, you don't talk about that stuff. Okay, it gives off the wrong perception. People look at you differently. People think about you differently. That's not appropriate. You don't ask somebody how much money they're making. You don't ask how to go make more money. You don't tell anybody how much money you're making or ask how much money somebody else is making. Like, we don't talk about money. Jesse, if you want to make more money, then you need to go to college. And then you need to go find a job that makes $100,000 a year. Then you need to work 40 to 50 hours a week for 40 to 50 years. And then you'll have a nice cush retirement. You know, Carlin, do you know who Chris Crone is?
Yes. I'm
reading one of his books right now. And there's a statistic that he threw out that said, I want to say he said it was either 16% or 18% of people that are retired have $200,000 or more saved up. That's it. 16% of retirees have $200,000 or more saved up. And it's the craziest thing. When we think about our goals and we think about the things that we want to go do, why is it that we're afraid to say those things out loud? Are we afraid of being judged? Are we afraid of what people are going to think about us if we actually tell somebody that we want to make $1 million? I mean, my goodness. No, not you, Jesse. Why would you do that? Why would you say that? Like anything else, if there's one thing that I've learned about money, you have to talk about it. If you want to learn how money works, if you want to learn how to grow your money so that you can hit your goals, you got to talk about it. And growing up, Carlin, and I tell me if I'm wrong here. Tell me if I'm a little off base here, Carlin. I used to think about, when I used to talk about making money, people would look at me weird. People would treat me weird. But here's the thing. If you want to get better at playing basketball, wouldn't that be really weird to be hush-hush about playing basketball? How do you expect, like, explain this to me. Let's say you wanted to get better at basketball. You wanted to become the Michael Jordan, the next Michael Jordan. But the one thing that you could not do, I will not allow it, is you cannot talk about basketball. You cannot go ask somebody about how to play better at basketball. I do not want to see you out in a public space doing drills. We don't want our neighbors outside seeing you play basketball. I don't want to catch you or hear you watching YouTube videos about running basketball drills. Wouldn't that be weird to want to be better at basketball, but you couldn't talk about it? It was hush hush. How was you supposed to get better at basketball? You have to obsess about it. Does that make you a bad person? Not if you want to get to Michael Jordan's level. I mean, even his own teammates. Carlin, have you ever seen The Last Dance? Oh my gosh, you would know if you. Okay.
It was like,
okay. My gosh. Homework for Carlin and for anybody else. It's on Netflix. It's called The Last Dance. It's got 10 episodes. Season 1, 10 episodes.
I've seen Dirty Dancing. Does that count?
It counts. It counts for sure. I would definitely count that.
Okay, I've seen that like 400 times. So
Okay, well, you don't worry about watching The Last Dance then. It's a
okay.
Michael Jordan documentary. If you've seen Dirty Dancing, then you don't have to watch the. Did you say The Last Dance or Dirty Dancing?
Dirty Dancing.
Okay, that's what I heard. That's what I thought. Okay, cool. So if you've seen Dirty Dancing, you don't have to go watch Michael Jordan. But if you haven't seen Dirty Dancing, then definitely go watch The Last Dance. I hope you guys are catching the sarcasm here. So it was really interesting watching that to even see what Michael Jordan's teammates said about him. How he was hard on people. He was rough. He expected excellence. He was accountable, and he expected the individuals that he played with to be accountable. And it was really interesting to hear their perspective of it going through the time. They were like, yeah, that guy was an asshole. But then after the fact, looking back on it, it's like, wow, actually, I see now the leadership that he brought to the team. I see the level that he was trying to play at. I see the goal that he had in mind for the team. And the way that he executed that, yeah, he may have been an asshole, but you know what? He was a hell of a teammate. And when we have these big goals, when we have things like making money, it's the same thing. Like if you want to learn how money works, then you've got to be okay talking about money. If you want to accomplish these big dreams, if you have things that you want to do, even if it's not monetary. Carlin wants to build a huge, gigantic elephant sanctuary. And she's not quiet about it. Nor should she be. So I want you guys to think about some of the goals that you have in mind. Put those things out there. Those things can't come to fruition. You can't find other people to come into alignment if you're not taking the time to put those things out there. Carlin, is there anything else that I'm missing? Anything else you'd like to add on there? I don't see enough people putting themselves out there like that.
So Eleanor Roosevelt actually has this quote. It says, "The future belongs to those who believe in the beauty of their dreams." And I personally think that's so impactful. So getting goals, the way I see it is money is a tool. Money is a tool. Everyone wants money. I can't think of anyone, with the exception of people who are not quite sure how money is a tool. I've never met anyone in the entrepreneurial space that's like, "No, I don't want money. That sounds horrible. Money sucks." Because it's a tool. It gets you to that big dream. My goal is not to have a shit ton of money. My goal is to have money to fund the big things. I want to rehab French chateaus. Actually, that's not even my goal. That's my daughter's goal. She wants to rehab French chateaus. Okay. My other daughter, she wants a lavender field. So we need the money to make these things happen. We need the tool. And when you have the tool and you know how to make it work, then these big goals come into place. An elephant sanctuary, that's not cheap. That's I can't go to the bank and just be like, yeah, I need $28 million for some elephants. They're not gonna start throwing cash at me like it's nothing. Like the money is going to work for you, and being able to take a step back and visualize and see and feel and think and smell and create all of these senses for what that big goal looks like, that's the direction you want to go. I mean, you can have a goal, but what does that feel like? What do you think that's going to smell like? What do you think the textures involved in that goal are? It encompasses all of your senses. And so when you take these goals, these financial goals, and create the bigger picture for what you actually want to do with that money, that's when everything starts falling into place. Because money, all of us want money. Everybody wants money. But what are you going to do with that? What is it that you want?
What's the impact?
Yeah, what's the impact? What are you aiming to achieve with the said money that you are working towards?
I love that quote that you shared from Eleanor Roosevelt. And I think that's a big thing to tie. Like essentially, like you're getting at what is your why, right? Like what's the thing that's going to anchor you to keep you going to push for those big goals, for having those big dreams. I saw you guys, some of you guys put this stuff in the chat. If you guys haven't put it in the chat, I would genuinely love to know. Like, let me highlight you here for a second. What are some of the things that you guys would like to accomplish? can be over the next 12 months. Like I would genuinely love, like, throw your guys' goals in the comments. I
Actually,
love,
I want to add on that, Jesse. I
yeah,
want to add
please.
on to that pin right there. What would you do if time wasn't a restraint? What would you do if finances weren't a
Ooh,
restraint? Write it down. Put it in the chat, write it down. Have a pen and paper, write all of this down. Start visualizing. What is it that you want to accomplish if time and money were not an issue?
that's such a good question. You know, some of the things I want to go be a stand-up comedian. I've got the energy for it. Like I want to get up and I want to do it, and I want to start a band with my kids.
Here,
Those are some of the
let's
two
see.
things I want to do.
Here's Alan Kalupa says, buy a hotel. Let's get more specific, Alan. Where is your hotel going to be? How many stories is it going to be? Is it going to have a pool? Do you think you're going to put in some sort of entertainment? I've seen hotels that have water slides and water parks. I've seen some hotels that are on a boardwalk. What does your hotel look like? Let's get very, very specific with the details. Let's start imagining things as if it were going to be happening because it will be. It will be happening. I want to start a flight school. Where's your flight school going to be, Sean?
What kind of flight school? What
What
is an
kind of flight
agri?
school?
What the hell is an agricopter? I got to go Google that now. I'm assuming it's a helicopter for agriculture. Just noticing the airline tickets and putting two and two together here.
Like when you have goals, think of how granular you can be. So let me go back to the elephant sanctuary. This is something I am obsessed with. Obsessed. I go places. If you've ever seen the Kalahari, it's in the Wisconsin Dells. The Kalahari is this huge resort, massive, has all sorts of things. It has a water park. They have little animals. They have all these things. And so when we're driving and we're going through Wisconsin, I look at the Kalahari and my brain goes, I wonder what I could do. I wonder what would happen or what a conversation with the people who own that hotel franchise would look like and how that could be correlated to what I want to do with elephants. I wonder if it's a possibility to put a hotel in my elephant sanctuary so people can experience firsthand what the elephants are doing, what they live, how what they eat. Make your goals so big you are obsessed with it. Drive by, look at I'm in southern New Mexico. We have nothing but dirt. When I'm driving to El Paso, I'm looking out the window. Obviously, James is driving because I get distracted too easily. This is a perfect example of why. I'm looking out the window going, I wonder what it would look like if there was a herd of elephants just chilling. This is the perfect climate for African elephants. I wonder if they would be willing to sell me their land. I wonder what it would cost. How could I actually achieve getting the land and then being able to bring African elephants into this environment to thrive and flourish? Create a goal so big, it is ridiculous to not think of it. It should be an obsession. It should be something you want, you need. And when you're in a casket and people are looking over you, they're saying that person did something insane. They said they were going to do it and man, they crushed it. How are you going to impact just off of what you want? It doesn't have to be some sort of save the world goals. My husband's goal is to have a Lamborghini in every color. But I can guarantee when he accomplishes that goal, that's going to be something he's remembered by.
I love what Debbie said here. What do you think about this, Carlin? Is that specific enough? Financial independence to be able to travel and be with family and friends whenever I want. I think that's such an amazing and wonderful goal. I think that really beautifully encapsulates probably what a lot of us hope to achieve to some way, shape, or form. the financial independence to be able to buy back our time, to spend our time with the people that we love that matter the most. But Debbie, I would encourage you to get a little bit more specific on this. Kind of like what Carlin's talking about, like going big, but also getting super, super clear. And let me give you a really specific example. When you guys think about goals, look at the room that you're in right now, or if any of you guys are driving, I want you to look and notice every little thing that you guys see. If you're at work, I want you to look around. I want you to see what your room that you're sitting in is. I want you to see what kind of calendar you have over to your right. What color is your office desk? What kind of coffee mug are you drinking out of? What brand of coffee are you even drinking? What color of car did you drive to work today? What brand of car? How many seats are in it? How many miles are on it? And with the exact same level of clarity in which you guys can describe your current circumstances, you need to be able to articulate what it is you're trying to accomplish. So while this is really good, Debbie, I would encourage you, let's get a little bit more specific with that. Financial independence, to be able to travel and be with family and friends whenever I want. Like when I read that, and it's really good because I personally resonate with everything that says. Like that right there, in short, encapsulates a lot of what I'm trying to create for myself as well. But also me already having done a lot of this stuff and understood how important it is to be clear on what it is that we're doing. It's also kind of the equivalent if somebody says, well, I want to lose weight so that I can bend over and tie my shoes so I can go running or walking or leave the house whenever I want. Like it's kind of like the equivalent of that. It's like, okay, let's get a little bit more specific here. Like what does financial independence look like to you? And this isn't necessarily, I'm not saying you have to come back here and just type an entire story. And thank you for sharing this. But I would encourage you guys like really in the same way that you can describe your current reality. That's the same amount of clarity that you need to be able to describe what it is you're trying to achieve. Ooh, Sherelle, opening a therapeutic group homes for people with autism. I love that. How many group homes are you going to open up? Where are they going to be at? How many rooms?
What kind of activities? I
If you need a
love
stand-up
doing this.
comedian to come in and tell jokes, let me know.
I love hearing other people's goals because in all selfishness, it helps me see how I can be more clear on my goals. But
Mm,
I love bringing this vision in with people. I
yeah.
love getting people excited about what they want. Let's see. Jeff, quit my W-2 to be able to focus more time on my family, travel, grow my business to help others, build up my nonprofit with app integrations. Jeff, where do you want to travel first? What does growing your business look like? What are you going to do spending time with your family? What kind of activities? What kind of restaurants do you want to go to? What are you guys going to eat? How what where where is the wildest place you can think of? And what kind of financial spending do you want to have when you visit that place? And
Mm.
it seems crazy to go into these level of details, but when you start thinking about it and you start looking into these things, it makes it real. It's not at that point, it's not a dream or anything else but an objective. Now you actually have an understanding of where you need to be to make that happen. And personally, anything I've put on my vision board at this point, anything that I have put on my goals with the appropriate time that I've allotted for each thing, I have made happen because of doing all of this, because of sitting down and getting so specific about what I'm trying to accomplish that it is impossible for me to not fail. I might run into road bumps. That's important. There are road bumps. You will run into hurdles. But with your goals so clear and so specific, you're going to look at the wall and go, "Oh, I'm just going to go to the door over there and go through it. So it's easy." Just going to go around this wall. That's fine. It makes it doesn't, it's not a number. You're not attaching that thing to a number now. You're attaching it to a feeling and an experience. And when you can create the feeling and the experience, it's life changing. It's not just something you could only dream of as a kid. I'm sure Neil Armstrong looked at the moon one time and was like, it'd be cool. Like, what if I could walk on that? And I bet from the time he made that decision to the time he did it, he obsessed about how he was going to do that. Who did he need to talk to? What programs did he need to get into? How was he going to get there?
What happens?
Money,
What happens to the confidence, you think, as you can get more specific on your goals and you hit these milestones? What happens to the confidence level?
I can tell you from experience, your confidence goes up. When James and I wrote that we were going to get 2 new cars, I was pregnant. Okay. We had 3 kids. I was pregnant. Before anything else, I was panicking. Because once you got a 4th, you got to get a whole new kind of car. And nobody tells you that, especially when your kids are little and one of them can't sit in the front. Oh my gosh. You're like, oh, crap, got to get a 3rd row. And in case nobody has seen what that actually looks like financially, 3rd row seating, you might as well just stack on an extra couple $1,000s minimum. So I had this vision. I was like, oh, okay, we need to get 2 cars, not 1, but 2 cars with 3rd row seating. How am I going to do that? And we put it on a board, and I would sit there. I would sit there and stare at it. For like 2 months, Jesse, for 2 months, I just sat there and stared at those words. And then finally I was just like, "Oh, there it is. I know how we're gonna do it." And I took that goal and I started breaking it down. It got more and more granular and more specific. And I knew what kind of cars I wanted. I knew how I like James, he had his whole speech planned out. He was prepared to validate why he wanted his Durango. I don't care. I didn't care. I knew he wanted it. It's like, great. You know how you're going to do that? I know how I'm going to get my car. Let's do that. We had it so specific. Okay, we're going to do this and then we're going to do this and then we're going to do this. And following those steps, it's like baking a cake. When you have the goal, when you have the thing you're trying to accomplish, and you break it down, you're following instructions. That's all it is. You're following the instructions for how to have the cake.
I love that.
And
You just got done talking about something that I want to make sure I want to go back and touch on this for a second in case it just went over anybody's head. You go out and you put this goal out, and it's not your job to figure out how it's going to happen. And I think a lot of people sell themselves short. A lot of people, when they set goals, because they set this goal and they have no idea how they're going to bridge the gap from where they are to actually achieving this goal, they lower their standards. They water themselves down, essentially. And they set goals that are in line with who they are right now because they can understand how it's going to come to fruition. If you can only afford a $200 a month car payment, that's a little bit different than going and buying a brand new car where your car payment, depending on the car and the price, might be, upwards of $500 or $600. But here, perfect example. Check this out. I got a text this morning. I think it was from your husband.
he's so cool.
He is cool. Let me go back and find it. He says, I think this is from our 2 most recent properties that we purchased. They're all up and running now. $9,000 made on our last 2 properties just in the last month. $9,000 in cash flow. So it's like, what can you do with $9,000 in cash flow now? That's just from 2 properties. So some of you guys are like, well, I'm afraid to shoot for, a $20,000 a month or a $40,000 or a $50,000 a month goal because I have no idea how to do it. And so simply just because you can't personally conceive how these things are going to come to fruition, then you're like, well, I can't do that. That's too big of a goal because I see that as completely unrealistic. Let me tell you guys something. When it comes to setting realistic goals, it's not a number. If you want to go make $1 million, it's not the fact that you put out to the world that you want to make $1 million that makes it unrealistic. If you've never made $20,000 in a month before, setting that goal is not what makes it unrealistic. Putting a number out there like 20 grand or 50 grand or whatever it is, that's not what makes a goal realistic or unrealistic. It's the things that you do. It's the action steps that you take that determine whether or not that goal is actually realistic or unrealistic. If you want to go buy 100 properties, or if you want to pick up an extra 100 doors, or if you want to, whatever it is, but then you call 10 sellers a day or 10 sellers a week even. I've talked to people that are like, well, I talked to 10 sellers this week. It's like, you what? It's like, that's now what makes the goal unrealistic, is the action that you took. So it's not up to you to try to figure out how you're going to accomplish this goal. But don't water down yourself. Don't water down who you can become and what you can achieve because you can't process or fathom or understand the direct link between where you are and where you're trying to go.
I think my elephant sanctuary is my favorite example for this, period. I don't know how to run an elephant sanctuary. I've never even been to one. But every day I think of a new step I can take to make it possible. Do I have the money for it? No, but I've talked to a whole lot of people at this point who are like, yeah, Carlin, when you start that project, let me know. I will happily throw X amount of money your way. It's just a matter of finding the right people, doing the right things, and the wrong thing can very easily turn into the right thing. It's just finding some way to take one step forward. Because if you don't take a step forward, if you're trying to run a mile and you're not willing to take the first step, you're not running a mile. You're standing in one spot thinking about running a mile. You have to take the first step. Even if you don't know what that looks like, just take a step. Talk to someone. They might know. They might know.
I want to read you guys something. I did a live yesterday. For those of you guys that don't know, I do a live every single Thursday at 2 p.m. Eastern time inside of our Facebook group. So if you're not part of our Facebook group, the Growth Co. Real Estate Mastery for Investors, definitely get in there. I shared this yesterday, but I think it's worth repeating again. When we talk about doing the thing, we talk about doing exactly what Carlin just got done talking about. Like, go out and take freaking action. It's not your job to figure out how to do it. I'm going to read this to you guys. Preparing to do the thing is not doing the thing. Scheduling time to do the thing is not doing the thing. Making a to-do list for the thing is not doing the thing. Messaging friends who may or may not be doing the thing is not doing the thing. Writing a banger tweet about doing the thing is not doing the thing. Hating on yourself for not doing the thing is not doing the thing. Hating on other people who have done the thing is not doing the thing. Hating on obstacles in the way of doing the thing is not the thing. Fantasizing of all their adoration you'll receive once you do the thing is also not doing the thing. Reading about doing the thing is not doing the thing. Reading about how other people are doing the thing is not doing the thing. The only thing that is doing the thing is doing the thing. Like Carlin said, if you want to go run a marathon by the end of the year, starting January 1, reading about how to do a marathon or how to run a marathon is not doing the thing. Researching outerwear or shoes is not doing the thing. Go start running. Go outside and just go. If you can't run right now, then go walk. Just go do the thing. It's funny, when we set goals, we know what we need to be doing. We know whether that's to lose weight, whether that's to get six-pack abs, whether that's to make more money. We know what we need to be doing. Most people just won't do it. Get out of your way and start going and doing the thing. So with that being said, Carlin, when it comes to like mindset, obstacles, when we talk about like fear, procrastination, self-doubt, how does all that play a part? Why do you think some people just have most people, probably everybody? Why do those things become such a huge obstacle for a lot of people when it comes to the mindset and striving for these huge, big goals?
I don't even know where to start with this. First and foremost, I think a big part of it plays into the people we keep company. And so when you have a group of people around you who are not doing the thing, who are not shooting big, who are very complacent, it creates a sense of self-doubt when you create this idea in your head. If I hung out with the people I hung out with 10 years ago and was like, "Hey, I want to make an elephant sanctuary." They'd be like, "Okay. You know, let me know what are you going to do? Go buy some land?"
Yeah.
Like it there there's a lot of moving parts to this one, so bear with me, okay? Just bear with me on here. Yeah, they'd be like, "Are you high?" I'd be like, "Yeah, probably, because I'm with you guys." Um, so who you keep company with, that makes the biggest difference because the group I'm seeing in this chat right now, I could come to any of you, and be like, "Hey, Nathaniel, Tiffany, Michelle, I want to build an elephant sanctuary." You guys would be like, "Heck yeah, Carlin. How are we going to do this? What should we be doing? Let's figure this out." And when you have those people, your confidence goes up. Okay? Your confidence goes up. When you're able to track your progress, your confidence goes up. Self-doubt, that is the worst thing ever. But nobody tells you how to deal with it. So let me tell you, Jesse, 3 years ago, 3 years ago, I started into real estate. Stumbled across Pace Morby, started doing all the things, doing all the stuff. And James, my loving husband, knew I was in a dark place at this point. I was trying to do anything. Okay, you've all heard the AC story. Nobody knows how depressed I was at that point in life. Nobody. So let me get vulnerable here. I was in a dark spot. I had no confidence. I had just had a baby. I had no idea what I was doing. I felt lost. I didn't know who I was supposed to be talking to. I didn't know what I was supposed to be doing. I knew that we had done a couple wholesale deals. Yeah, that felt great. Woohoo. Didn't know how to celebrate my accomplishments. And that's another big thing. When you do something big, celebrate yourself. Shit, guys, you did a thing. Be proud of that. Nobody tells you that. Nobody tells you to celebrate yourself. So I'm out here, not really able to understand who I'm around, what I'm doing, why I'm here. And my loving husband sets me up with a phone call with Sub 2. And for those of you who know, they call, "Why do you think you should be in this program? What do you want to accomplish? Blah, blah, blah." And they asked me that question. They said, "Why do you want to be in Sub 2?" And I broke down into hysterics. On the phone call with that poor person, they just shut up. They had no idea what to do. I could sense their uncomfortableness from my side of the phone. I was uncomfortable because I was crying to a stranger about how I felt so confused and so lost. I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know who I needed to talk to. I didn't know what my purpose was. And it was just a plethora of so much confusion. See, my dogs are confused. They're mad at me for having those thoughts. There is just so much going on. And those self doubt thoughts just continuously creep. What's your purpose? What are you doing? Why are you here? You think you can accomplish this? And Leo, come here. And so I finally started meeting people. Jesse, you and I had a friendship, and I'm so thankful that you were there at that point in my life, because I know that you talked to me through a lot of it. And without that, without the people that are there to help you and give you grace, those thoughts will just continuously creep. But everybody is here for a purpose. Everybody is here for a reason, and you might not know what that is right now. But doing the little things, bringing good people into your circle, celebrating yourself, celebrating your accomplishments, writing down the good things that happen to you in the day, finding the things that you do that are valuable. Maybe it's not valuable to you, but you have absolutely no idea how impactful you are to someone else. Keep the right people around you. Be vulnerable and let people know when you are struggling. It's uncomfortable. Yeah, it is very uncomfortable to tell someone when you're hurting. But you cannot pull out of that if you do not let someone know. Self-doubt, just procrastination, fear, all of those come together. All of those have the same mother. And to take care of one, you're taking care of the others. It's okay to be afraid. If you have to procrastinate on one thing, find something else to do. Find something else that's going to be productive. Build up the resiliency. If something's way too far out of your comfort zone, just take a step out of the circle. And then when you're ready, when you've pushed your threshold, get back in for a little bit and continuously work on it. It's like running a marathon. Start walking. That's going to be uncomfortable. If you've never run a marathon before, you're going to be walking a marathon questioning why you're doing it, but you did it. You're doing the thing. And then the next time, maybe you can jog. Maybe skip. I don't know. But continuously push yourself. And every time you do the thing, you become less fearful. You doubt yourself a little bit less. You're willing to open up a little bit more. All of those things compound. Positive and negative compounds. When you attract positive, the positive compounds. When you attract negative, the negative compounds. Figure out where you need to be attracting and compounding the positivity in your life. And if that means someone needs someone to talk to, reach out to me. I will happily yell at you motivational things. Very, very happily. Because I've been in that dark place. I've experienced the procrastination, the fear, the self-doubt, the loathing, the self-pity. All of that is human nature. How you handle it is going to be where the difference is.
Thank you for sharing that. Wow. I'm just looking at the comments. I just think they're just so many of us that can resonate with that. And a lot of times going through that, it feels like we're the only ones that are going through that or experiencing that. And to yours and Tiffany's point, being able to change your environment to be around people that can brainwash you into believing in yourself, that can brainwash you into thinking that you can do and achieve anything. Being that support, helping you stay consistent, helping you stay disciplined, to stay motivated. And just because you change your environment doesn't mean you're never going to have any of those thoughts or necessarily those feelings again. But you have the people in your corner And that's what I love about our relationship. Is when either one of us have those days, it's like the other one is always there to support. And it's just the coolest thing, man, having somebody like that in your corner. You know, I tell people all the time, I think the two biggest things right now from my perspective, I had this epiphany this week where I was kind of thinking about my goals and where I'm at right now, the things I'm working on and where I used to be. If I could go back and give myself some advice, it would be to focus on two things. And one of those things being changing your environment. Everybody hears this. Everybody, as soon as you dive into the world of entrepreneurship, the very first elementary thing that you get shoved down your throat, whether you want to hear it or see it or not, is you become the average of the 5 people you surround yourself with. And we all know this. What I just said is nothing new. You guys have heard that literally a million times. But how many people are actually doing anything about that? How many of you guys are actually taking the initiative to change your environment, to limit the amount of scarcity and negativity that you take in, to hold those people, even if they're people that you love, hold them at an arm's length distance so you can allow room for the individuals that are going to lift you up, that are going to support you and might even brainwash you into believing yourself. Because fear kills more doubt. Fear kills more dreams than failure ever will. The fear of not wanting to take action, the fear of not wanting to do something, fear and doubt will kill those dreams more than failure ever will. So I love that you said that. Thank you for sharing that. Thank you for being vulnerable. How's it going to do it? My computer
Yeah,
sucks.
mine doesn't do it ever, so I
It
have to
doesn't ever
make
do
the
it. Oh, there it is.
no. Mine just hates me. It's fine.
What are some things that people can do to stay focused, to stay motivated, just help keeping that dream and that vision alive? I know we were talking about your elephant sanctuary. What are some of the things that you do?
I have an arsenal of friends, a whole arsenal of people who are passionate about animal conservation, elephants specifically. I love talking to them. Even if we don't talk for like a week, 2 weeks, months, I can pick up the phone and be like, "Hey, I'm so excited to tell you about this thing that I thought of for the sanctuary." And they're just like, "Yeah, that's so awesome. I know a person who has this, this, and this. Let me connect them to you." So, keeping relationships with people who have big goals and big dreams. I personally have vision boards. Nathaniel asked where I'm at. I'm still in my office. I'm just sitting in a different angle today. That right there is a silk or a velvet painting that I got in South Korea. You can't see it, but it's a mother with her baby elephant. So I have reminders with me everywhere. I've got maps everywhere of places I want to go that have elephants. I've got elephant statues. I've got every single thing that you could think of as a reminder that I care about something. That's in my house. I want to walk around and just see things and be like, "Oh, elephants. Love elephants. So cool." Like, create reminders, create things that you're emotionally tied to that inspire your dreams and your goals and your ambitions. It's it's so important because just writing it down, which by the way I do. Oh, look here, actually, on that note, elephants. I write down my goals in this book every single day. It's repetitive, so you can flip through about 200 pages of the same thing. It's just making sure that you have what you want in front of you so you know what you are working towards. Whether that be vision boards, whether that be some sort of meditation you listen to, whether that be friends that are just constantly encouraging you to do the thing. Get creative, like to find something that inspires you. These are just what I do. My suggestions might not work for everyone. That's fine. But find some way that inspires you all day, every day to focus on the thing that you are obsessed with. And when you have that thing in sight, money is the tool. And you can focus on how you're going to acquire that money to do the thing. And for most of us here, that's real estate. Not the goal, that's the tool.
What about accountability partners?
Ooh. So I actually wanted to touch on this specifically. If you do not have someone you are talking to every day who is holding you to what you are trying to achieve, I want you to go into the Growth Co group right now and post that you are looking for people to hold you accountable. Develop
Mm.
such a good relationship that you are talking to them like me and Jesse talk to each other. They will be your closest friend. They will tell you when you're doing things right, but they will let you know when you were doing things wrong. An accountability partner is a lot more than just, "Hey, how you doing?" "Oh, good." "Oh, you counted your toes today. Great. Do you have 10?" "Oh, good. That's what I needed to know." Develop a personal relationship. Go into the group right now. Make a post that you are looking to build relationships with an accountability partner. Maybe set up an accountability group. That's something we require in the Growth Co. Nathaniel, they can both attest to it. You will build very close relationships with the people that are willing to hold you accountable. Do that.
Carl, I'd love to have you touch on something real quick. Talk about, because you have these, this is kind of where leadership and communication kind of comes in. But talk about the friend hat and the business hat for a second. So I know a lot of partnerships. I know a lot of accountability partners that dissipate or they don't get very far because they don't know how to properly communicate things. And I know for us, that's always been one of the things I really loved about our relationship. And I would love for you to kind of give your take on that, your perspective on that, and how to do it and why it's important.
How to do it so straightforward. So what Jesse's talking about, a lot of the times, actually all the time, humans think emotionally. That is a natural state that we think in, which is very conflicting when business should not be operated emotionally. When you operate in emotions, you make irrational decisions and you make impulsive decisions. So, when you have the friend hat and the business hat, it makes things easier to communicate because you know how you need to be communicating. Love you, Nathaniel. Um, so one of the things that Jesse and I do, and Jesse, I hope you don't mind me sharing this. I don't think so.
No, I don't know
Well,
what you're going to share. So maybe I will after
surprise!
this. Friend hat.
Friend hat. So one of the things that Jesse and I do is when we're talking business, we preface the call with business. But when there are feelings that just need to get aired out, and there will be times, it is gonna happen. I don't know how to set the expectation. There will be times when you are not in agreement with your partner, and that triggers emotions. And you will try and communicate logically through your emotions. It will not work. Let me just say that right now. Communicating emotions through business with business will not work. So I'll call Jesse if I'm having these big feelings. Let's say I'm having a hard day. He said something that upsetted me. I misinterpreted it. He didn't mean what he meant. I interpreted it very emotionally. I'll call him and say, "Hey, Jesse, I need to talk to you." And he'll say, "Is this a friend hat or a business hat?" I can say, "This is a friend hat. This is how I am feeling. This is what frustrated me about what you said. And that gives us the opportunity to talk in a way that we are communicating on emotions. Now, don't get me wrong, in that conversation, at some point, it will switch to business. And we say, okay, I'm going to put my business hat on now. So you're setting the tone, you're setting the expectation for where you need to be communicating because friend hat is a very emotional state. Business hat, very logical state. And those are two separate parts of your brain. So being able to communicate which space you're going to be thinking with or communicating with, that allows the other person time to process and say, "Oh, okay, I got to switch now." And it makes things so easy and so streamlined. And that again, I mean, going back to what you said, Jesse, that's something I very much appreciate because I am a very emotionally reactive person. And it sucks some days, but I can do a lot of things with my emotions. There are just times where they're not necessary. And so having someone say, "Hey, you have your friend hat on, but we need to be talking business. Can you put your business hat on, please?" And verbally communicate these switches makes it so much easier to understand where I'm at and where I need to be.
But it's not just like a male and female thing, right? Like I have those
No.
things too, where I reach out to you. I'm like, hey, Carlin, this happened. This is kind of what I'm thinking. Friend hat. Because that's just part of being human. It's just human having a human experience. And when we want to solidify something, we want to create something that is just so strong and that we're going to grow together. Whether you're in an accountability group, whether it's with your accountability partner, whether it's with your business partner. Like, I love that we have that aspect of our relationship on both personal and business, and that we can take these things off, we can separate them, we can have conversations about both of them, and then come together and divide and conquer in the way that we need to. I think that's awesome. Love
So
that
it
we can
makes
do
me
that.
want to cry. Friend hat, I'm feeling a little teary here.
All right.
So we are creeping up past the hour, actually.
Do what?
I said we're creeping up past the hour. We are 1 minute past the hour, actually. I know you have to get over
Oh,
to
oh, wow.
office hours. So
Yeah, that crept up
well,
fast. Cool, guys.
guys,
Well, go ahead.
go make a post. Make a post, find an accountability partner. Develop a relationship and learn to communicate with each other because it's life-changing. It really is. Having people that you can communicate this way and transparently, it doesn't have to be just with your business partner. I can communicate this way with my husband. Understanding how to separate logic and emotion makes the biggest difference. Go find someone you can create a good relationship with. So, go make that post. Thank you guys for being here and for letting me get up on my soapbox today.
Thank you for sharing all that. That was so great. Appreciate you, Carlin. Love your face. Glad you're here. Thank you guys for tuning in. We will see you guys next week. For everybody who is in our mentorship, we have open office hours kicking off right now. I will see you guys over there.